Alright guys, it's time for the most exciting unboxing of the year. The iPhone 14 series is here with us in the Fiiber studio and it's time to unbox all three phones, iPhone 14, iPhone 14 Pro and iPhone 14 Pro Max. Let's start with the iPhone 14. So here it is, the box as usual, the Apple iPhone box. First up you have the iPhone 14. I mean, that's the only thing in the box because you only get the charging cable and a few stickers. But here's the iPhone 14 Pro in the silver color variant. Look how gorgeous it looks. And of course the iPhone 14 Pro Max, which we have in the deep purple color. All three phones are here with me. This is the iPhone 14. We have it in the blue color, the iPhone 14 Pro in the silver color, and of course the iPhone 14 Pro Max in the deep purple. Just look at these, how gorgeous do they look. Let me start with the iPhone 14, even though I don't intend to because I'm not really excited about this phone. It is more or less like the iPhone 13. They haven't made too many changes to this phone. It's the same chipset, the same design, maybe a different camera, but overall the phone looks and feels just like the iPhone 13. You can see here from the design itself, it's exactly identical to the iPhone 13. Even the placement of the camera lenses this year is the same. I mean, that's the only change they made last year. So anyway, moving on. The in-hand feel of the phone is really good. I have to give it to Apple for making a premium phone, good looking phone. It is not too heavy, so anybody who's in the market for a lightweight phone, a compact phone, this is going to be the option this year because of course there is no iPhone mini in this year's lineup. So if you want a compact light phone, this is the one. I would still recommend the iPhone 13 over the iPhone 14. See, we have used it for a very little time right now, but we have clicked few pictures because that's the only major change here. The iPhone 14 has slightly larger sensors. We have clicked few pictures. You can see side by side how the images have improved on the iPhone 14 or not. What we'll do is we'll click more pictures over the next few days and talk about it in our final review. But yes, definitely I think the larger sensors will help you click better pictures in low light conditions. Also, even though the chipset is same, what Apple has done is it's increased the GPU from 4-core GPUs to 5-core GPU. So you may get a slightly better performance, but do not expect anything out of the world on the iPhone 14 as compared to the iPhone 13. Now moving on to the more hot prospects of this year, the iPhone 13 Pro and Pro Max. Well, both of them are here. Again, see, both these phones share most of their specs. They look same. They have exactly the same hardware. The only difference is in the size. This one is at 6.1 inches while the Pro Max is at 6.7 inches. Also, you will get a slightly better battery backup on the iPhone 14 Pro Max because of its size. Apple could fit in a bigger battery. But apart from that, all the features are the same. I've set up the iPhone 14 Pro Max, so I'm going to use it to display everything. Now, one thing which I noticed, I have the iPhone 13 Pro with me here, and if I put both these phones side by side, you can see the lenses on the iPhone 14 Pro are more prominent as compared to the iPhone 13 Pro. Also, the iPhone 14 Pro looks slightly thicker here, and even though it doesn't feel as thick in your hand, I mean the in-hand feel is still pretty great. The frame looks good. My only complaint is that it's still quite glossy, because of which you get a lot of fingerprint smudges as compared to the iPhone 14, which has a matte finish on the frame, so you won't get any smudges here. Also, it gives you a slightly better grip. This one tends to slip a bit out of your hand. Moving on, the brightness on the display this year has definitely gone up. It's been increased to 2000 nits, and you can see from the naked eye itself that the display feels so much brighter. Just look at here. Even in the studio, this feels so bright. So if you go outside, I mean, you can use it under direct sunlight. It's also ideal for your video playback. If you're watching content on your phones, this will look great. Another change here is that this year Apple has used LTPO panels on the iPhone 14 Pro and Pro Max, which means that these displays, even though they support 120Hz refresh rate, they can adjust it according to what is playing on the screen, which will help you get a better battery backup from the phones. Now the big change though here is not all of these. The biggest change is, of course, right here, the dynamic island. Now, I don't like that name. Let me know what you think about it. But yes, the notch is finally gone. It's been replaced by this thing. And what I like it is that it's not just here for the sake of it, but Apple has also integrated some of the software and UI features on this. For example, when you use the face unlock, there's a nice little animation that pops up on top of the dynamic island. Also, when I was playing some songs here, what I saw and what I noticed is that you can see here a little animation right next to the dynamic island, which sort of pops up also. And if you click on it, tap on it, you can either open the song directly from there, or a small control center opens from where you can control the volume, you can change the tracks, you can even play and pause your music. So I kind of like that. I'm looking forward to see what all this dynamic island does, and of course I'll be exploring it more in the coming days. Other change is, of course, this year you're getting the 48 megapixel option on the iPhone 14 Pro and Pro Max, the first for any iPhones. Only catch is, if you are clicking 48 megapixel images in the ProRAW mode, single image size will be 75 MB. That's a lot. So it's going to take up a lot of space on your phones. So if in case you plan to use it, go ahead with the 512 GB or 1 TB variant. Do not waste your money on a 128 GB variant. The other camera changes include upgrade on the cinematic mode. So last year Apple had introduced the cinematic mode on the iPhones. Now what it has done this year is it has increased the ability from 1080p to 4K. So you can record cinematic videos in 4K at 24 frames per second. Also, there's a new action mode. So even though iPhones were already pretty great for recording videos, they had very good stability. This action mode will help you capture moving subjects more freely and in a better way. We of course will be clicking a lot of images using these phones and talk about it in the final review, but you can see some of the image samples that we have already taken. You can see what sort of image quality you can expect from these phones. Lastly, these two phones have also got a new chip, the A16 Bionic chip from Apple, and in the last 1 hour that I've used these phones, I have not felt much of a difference from the iPhone 13 Pro or Pro Max, but I'm sure there'll be significant upgrades which we'll test over the next few days. Lastly, there's also the new crash detection feature which Apple had introduced on all these phones this year. So if you are in an accident, the phones will detect it and send a notification to the authorities, who will come to your rescue. And we of course have the satellite, this connectivity feature, which is not available in India right now. It's only for the US and the Canada audience. And you can expect better battery on all these phones, as Apple always says. But yes, so this is the roundup of the iPhone 14 series, your very first look at the iPhone 14, 14 Pro and 14 Pro Max. I kind of like the colors, I like the in-hand feel. I have a few complaints. For example, the iPhone 14 could have easily got 90Hz or 120Hz refresh rate option. The display still runs 60Hz refresh rate at 80,000 rupees. It doesn't make much sense to me. Also, I don't see it as much of an upgrade over the iPhone 13. So I'll still recommend people to buy the iPhone 13 over the iPhone 14. But yes, the 14 Pro and 14 Pro Max definitely look like solid devices, just that their price has been bumped a lot. So the 14 Pro starts at 1,30,000, while the 14 Pro Max starts at 1,40,000, an amount which not everyone can spend. What do you think about these phones? If you have any questions, put them in the comment section, share your views. We'll cover everything in our final review. I hope you liked the video. If you did, do subscribe as well.